All right. So, what are my thoughts? Well, I mean, as you probably noticed, I'm actually recording. Usually I would live stream stuff like this, but I don't feel like live streaming this for some reason. So, I'm recording this. This will be like my live reaction. Um, I haven't seen this yet, but obviously this is going to be IGN's Q&A when it comes to cyberspace. Now we saw official first look at cyberspace with the Nintendo Partner Showcase trailer for Sonic Frontiers, which was really good. I enjoyed that quite a bit, and that music. I really hope that track from Oyatani just releases very soon. I want to enjoy that track. Oh my god. But yeah. So there's gonna be answering some Q&As. Maybe they'll show a little bit more of the, cyberspace. We'll show a little bit more. I don't know if it's gonna be just Q&A or maybe they'll showcase more video, more footage. But what we'll do is we'll go through this and then we'll obviously we'll go through it a second time so I can just break it down a little bit, But yeah, the more I'm seeing of Frontiers, the more I'm getting excited, So it's kind of like the opposite of what Forza's had, because Forza's had great marketing, ended up being a terrible game. Sonic Frontiers had bad marketing, but the more we saw, the better it seemed. So, but we'll see. Oh, here it is.
Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Mitchell Saltzman here with our very last feature for IGN First, featuring Sonic Frontiers.
Okay.
And this one's going to be a little looser, a little more casual. I've played 4 hours of Sonic Frontiers at this point.
4 hours,
now
yeah.
That all the embargoes are up, and I'm able to talk about everything unrestricted. I wanted to answer some questions based on the 4 hours I played. So let's hit that title card, and we'll jump right into it.
Okay. Your questions answered. Oh.
Before we start proper, though, I've got to give a bit of a fair warning. It's been more than a month since I had my last play session with Sonic Frontiers. I last played it in the middle of May, if you can believe it. So
okay.
It's going off of what is no doubt an older build, but I'm also going off of memories that are a little bit dated. So, just understand that things could change, and
of course,
my memory of smaller details might not be 100%.
Okay.
Just
that's totally fine.
So let's begin with.
I appreciate the transparency.
The most commonly asked questions. I'm gonna just group a bunch of these together and let's talk about cyberspace. What I think I'm gonna do is talk about this generally first before addressing specific questions about cyberspace. I got to play 4 levels. You see
4 levels.
Of them in that Nintendo Direct trailer. One of them is modeled after Green Hill Zone.
Yep, Green Hill.
Actually,
a lot of people aren't happy about that. I don't mind personally, but
there's an opening cutscene, and then you get thrown into Cyberworld, and you do that Green Hill Zone basically.
Okay.
The second one is the Highway Zone that you see, which is probably like my favorite one that I got to play.
That one looks sick.
There was one that was modeled after Chemical Plant Zone.
Chemical Plant.
And there was one that was kind of like a Sky Temple.
A Sky Sanctuary.
It was based off of any prior Sonic games. It might have, but it's been a little while since I played some of the older 3D Sonic games. So to answer the question from Flame Kit Fox about the length of the cyberspace levels, to me they felt a bit short. And
bit short?
I say that because I believe I beat most, if not all of them, within 2 minutes, even on like my first
Really,
try.
2 minutes?
And usually these 3D Sonic levels, they focus on different beats. You go from a really fast boost section to a 2D section, and then back to a 3D section, whereas the levels in Sonic Frontiers felt pretty focused on 1 or 2 things. You would start off, it would be a boost focused section, then you go onto a rail, and then you go onto like a little platforming bit until you're back into a boost section, and then you get to the end of the level. So they felt shorter, but I don't really mean that in a negative way. I think they were actually just long enough where I wanted to keep on retrying them so I can get those goals. I mentioned this also in my preview. Every level has 5 goals, and every time you achieve a goal,
that's one thing I appreciate. Multiple things per level. If they'll
Chaos Emeralds. So I played 4 hours of Sonic Frontiers, but honestly, most of that time was kind of spent in cyberspace because I'm the kind of person when I play a Sonic game where I wanna strive for those S ranks. I wanna strive for getting those goals.
Yeah.
So I would keep on
of course
trying until I get like you know, the level down path. To me, that's the most fun I have when I play a Sonic game. It's that feeling of mastering a level and getting through it without slowing down. So I really strove to kind of get that experience every time I played one of these cyberspace levels. So for me, I actually kind of like the shorter length, especially when considered the fact that it's not the full game. The cyberspace is not the whole game. It is this mix of the open zone exploration, everything that they can do there, along with the...
Okay, so they confirm that cyberspaces are short, but there's a lot to them with the different replayability with them, which I'm all for.
Are they closer to those of Unleashed, Generations, or Forces? You know, I guess it's more similar to Unleashed and Generations because of the fact that there's no...
Unleashed? Okay.
There's no wisps. Wisps is still a very hard word for me to say. It's just kind of purely focused on that modern, boost-focused 3D Sonic experience. As for the 2D sections, actually, I didn't get to play it, but my colleague, Jeffrey Vega, who played about 2 hours of the game, he went a different way in the open zone and ended up finding a cyberspace level that I didn't find. And he said that it was entirely 2D focused. So I think they're gonna mix it up a good amount with the cyberspace.
And entirely 2D. If it's gonna be around like 26,
that a lot of people really wanted to know about is momentum, and I feel a little bad about this one because I honestly didn't really think about it. Sonic's control felt fine to me. At the very least, it wasn't noticeably different from other boost-centric Sonic games, especially in the cyberspace levels. It's true that it doesn't really matter what speed Sonic hits a rail at, he'll still grind it all the same, but I also don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. Now, there were definitely some weird moments, like I mentioned in the preview, where I was fighting the Asura boss, and I would run up the arm, and despite feeling like I should have enough momentum to reach the head, I would kind of just fly upwards and not have enough forward momentum to lock onto the head, and I would just kind of, fall back down to the ground. But to me, that felt more like an issue with the boss itself rather than an overall problem with momentum. So yeah, I wish I had a better answer for you than, the momentum didn't really bother me all that much, or, it feels very similar to other 3D boost-centric Sonic games. But, that's kind of where I'm at with momentum.
Right.
Those were the two big ones. That
maybe it'll change in the final. Probably not. I don't know.
But now let's look at some more targeted questions. Lone Speedster DX asked, how does the combat work in Frontiers? The starting combo seems to be that punch and kick string, but how do any of the special attacks work? So the way it works is that when you homing attack onto something, you'll do the little punch kick combo.
Okay.
And then on the last hit, you'll kind of kick yourself away and you'll come back down to the ground. There are a couple of upgrades that you can get in the skill tree that add some sort of new attack to the end of that string.
Yeah, I'm really excited about what the skill tree is going to offer.
This move, I think, and this is one of those things where, don't quote me on this, because again, I played this a month and a half ago. But I think that there is a combo counter. I think you get rewarded with a certain kind of power-up mode if you do a bunch of hits without getting hit. So there is a reward for being careful with regards to knowing when to lay off your attack and when the opponent is about to strike back. You can use a dodge to get out of the way. Dodges are on the L1 and R1 buttons, so you can just quickly get out of the way if something's about to attack you.
Okay.
You can use parries.
Parries, all that stuff. Many different ways to attack the enemies and stuff, which is very nice.
Kick a bunch of sound waves and it looks
I
really
love
awesome.
that sonic boom.
That's
that sonic
works.
wind attack.
It's not. This isn't Devil May Cry. I think the real test for the combat of this game will be enemy variety. There were a handful of enemies that all were a bit different, and I had to fight them a little bit differently in order to defeat them.
Keep in mind, there's only one island.
It's really going to be a matter of if they can keep on introducing new enemy types that keep having new and interesting ways to deal with them. And I think that's going to be the real test.
Yeah, because we saw that boss at the Sonic Central.
Exciting in the open
that
world.
brand new boss we haven't really seen before.
What does collecting those little rock guys do? Asked Vincent_mate.
Oh.
So collecting those little rock guys, it's kind of like Korok seeds in Breath of the Wild, where you solve a really simple puzzle, you find a Korok seed, you do the same thing in Sonic Frontiers. And what they do is that somewhere on the island is this elder rock guy.
Elder, okay. Yeah, I was mentioned earlier.
Guys, I wish I could remember the name for them right now. I'm sorry, again, a month and a half ago. If you get enough of those little rock guys and you bring them back to the elder, he will either upgrade your speed or upgrade your maximum rings that you can carry. And
okay, so upgrade speed and maximum rings you can carry. That's interesting.
My speed, obviously, but why would I want to upgrade my maximum rings? When you get hit in Sonic Frontiers, you don't just drop all your rings. You drop 40 rings. It's a set amount every time.
Oh, it's a set amount. Okay, that's new.
If you're able to collect 400 rings, I believe the cutoff is 400 rings, you're able to activate this, like, super blue boost that, like, you know, envelops Sonic in, like, this awesome blue aura. He's able to go even faster on his boosts. And
wait, so a certain amount of rings.
Extremely fast. If you thought that Sonic Frontiers isn't fast enough, just trust me. It's once you get this blue boost, he moves plenty fast. And I wish I had footage of it because it was one of the cooler things that I got to experience.
Okay, interesting.
Sonic Rich
so it gets an install if you collect enough
hours
rings. At least that's what I'm trying to get at.
Starfall Island from the get-go, or were there points where you strictly had to follow the story path? No, you're pretty much able to go wherever you want when you first land on Starfall Island.
Yep.
You know, obviously there is a main quest that you are constantly
basically
reminded
going
of,
along as your leader, like Breath of the Wild.
You know, you're able to just go off in a direction. There's a bunch of puzzles to solve to open up your map. The map will tell you where Chaos Emeralds are. You'll be able to find more puzzles to open up more of the map. So there's actually a lot to do in the open zone. There's a bunch of collectibles to find, the aforementioned rock guys that you can grab. It doesn't really funnel you towards a certain path. You're kind of free to take on that critical path whenever you want. Alright, lightning round time. Let's do a bunch of them really quick. Was there any form of spin dash or rolling, albeit in his base moveset or the skill tree? No, but there is a drop dash. Was the light
there's a drop
dash,
okay.
At all? Yes. Is there a Chow Garden or at least Chow in the game? I can't speak for the whole game, but in the 4 hours that I played, not a single Chow was seen. From what I played, how was the music?
That's kind of funny
because one of the first things that me and Jeffrey talked about when we got out of our demo was how much we enjoyed the music. So it's not, you know, it's not Crush 40, but it's very fitting, and you know, it sounds nice in my ears. All right, well, that is gonna do it for me, and that is gonna do it for our IGN first of the month of June for Sonic Frontiers. Thank you all so much for watching. Of course, if you missed any of our coverage, we've got a full hands-on preview.
Wow.
We've got an interview with director Kishimoto-san, an interview with Izuka-san, the head of Sonic Team, and over on IGN.com, we have a written interview with Ian Flynn, the writer of
basically
Sonic
confirming a lot of what we already know.
For everything else, keep it here on IGN.
With a few things that we've kind of, so basically this is a lot of things that we kind of already knew, but was basically confirmed. Let me try to.
But I'm also going off of memories that are a little bit.
Yeah, just let me look back at this real quick, because one thing I'm actually happy about is and this has already been confirmed. You know, the whole thing with Cyberspace, where so they kind of confirmed the levels are going to be short. Similar to how I guess more similar to definitely not Colors, because obviously there's no wisps, but he's comparing it to Unleashed. I don't know what he means by Unleashed. I don't know if it's truly going to be Unleashed or if it's going to be like Forces. Because obviously with Forces had the short levels. Forces had, its controls, however, kind of neutered from Generations and even from like Unleashed. Absolutely. So, I mean, like for example, that kind of begs the question, at least for me, are we going to drift? Because one of my main gripes from fucking Sonic Forces, one of my main gripes with the controls, you could not drift. And it's like, why? You could drift in Unleashed, you could drift in Generations, yet you couldn't drift in fucking Forces. So the question is, I think this will make or break whether or not the gameplay, at least for me, be similar to like either Forces or Unleashed. Will they be more control when it comes to the boost levels? Like, will there be, drifting, for example. So he's comparing it closer to like Unleashed, which is interesting. And it's like, I don't know. I mean, this is one of the reasons why I hopefully soon we'll get to play, like, they'll release like a public demo for Frontiers. Maybe towards like the end of the summer. It's going for holiday, so I don't know. But
about Cyberspace, what I think I'm gonna do is talk about.
But yeah, so basically he confirmed.
You see 2 of them in that Nintendo Direct trailer.
Yeah, so he's been saying earlier here around this part. So basically he's confirming. Obviously, he's played other 4 levels, and they kind of confirmed the 4 horsemen of Sonic stages. So basically, he says, the moment you drop down, so because basically he confirms you don't. Sonic doesn't at the start of the story. Sonic doesn't immediately drop into the Starfall Islands right away. He jumps straight into cyberspace. So obviously the first one is Green Hill, and he also confirmed there's Chemical Plant. And he also confirmed, I mean, with the highway stage, I mean, it's not entirely Speed Highway, but one can make correlations. I don't see Speed Highway. I think it's like just an original stage, at least in my opinion. Maybe somewhat inspired from Speed Highway. And then, of course, we already know from the leaks, from the footage leaks earlier from like the Summer Game Fest, Sky Sanctuary. the four most overused Sonic stages. Now, in my opinion, I like these stages. I don't mind them. I really don't mind them. It would be interesting. It would be nice though if they kind of at least started off with like new stages other than the Four Horsemen. Like what if we got Emerald Hill or what about West Top? Oh yeah, West Topless. I mean they probably didn't want to do West Topless. I mean if they're gonna make Shadow playable, if they're making Shadow playable, but yeah. So from the leaks, what we know it's going to be about like 26 like cyberspace levels. So each obviously referencing a time in Sonic's history. I'm assuming. I really do hope though, because what was the word? I can't get the word out much. Yeah, so obviously with the highway stage, it seems to me like it's an original course. Like hopefully we get like if we get like a good handful of like original cyberspace levels, I mean that'd be cool. But yeah, he mentions there's 4 that he went to, and
their Green Hill Zone, and that's actually the very first thing that you get to play when you jump into Sonic.
Yeah, it's a very good play. Yeah, Green Hill.
That one was just awesome.
Yeah, so that one looks really cool. I can't wait to see more. Hopefully we get to see more like gameplay throughout the summer. Hopefully this isn't it for like the reviews, because I want to see more.
And then there was one that was kind of like a Sky Temple.
Sky Temple, Sky Sanctuary. Okay, so I would like to kick Kim out. So I like to like more about the cyberspace levels if possible. How long they are, and are they original themed levels? So obviously this is what he confirmed. Yeah, these are short. He completed around like 2 minutes or so, but he did confirm there are multiple objectives. To doing so, like collecting rings, red rings, and all that stuff, completing a fastest time and all that stuff. I wonder. So it seems like there's going to be a set amount of missions, so that encourages replayability, and it encourages, especially if the levels are as fun to go through as he claims them to be, as from what the footage that we've seen. Because this is the thing. I don't mind if they're short, as long as they're fun and there's like multiple paths to do. Because another gripe I had with Sonic Forces was the fact that 95% of that game was like boost to win. You just held one button and one button to win. Together we can show the world what we can do. The fuck? Mindless. Brainless. And then you had rare gems like Egg Gate, Metropolitan Speedway, fucking Mortar Canyon. That's it. Prison Gate maybe, but that's it. In terms of like the Sonic stages specifically, that's it. A lot of them were just boost to win. So I'm hoping there are multiple pathways. I'm hoping it is similar to Unleashed, where there's multiple paths you can take, and with the Unleashed control scheme and hopefully, drift mechanic. But it seems like, because it says earlier
on different beats, you go from a really fast boost section.
Oh yeah, and this is where he also confirms
2D section.
Yeah, because this is where he also confirms that so there is going to be 2D sections. Which I don't mind. Like I said, as long as they're enjoyable, I don't care. And as long as and as long as they don't oversee, as long as they don't, as long as it's not more 2D than 3D, then I don't care. If it's like, if I see like a little bit of 2D sprinkled in, as long as the majority of the Cyberspace levels to me is 3D, that's fine. That's fine in my book. And also keep in mind that Cyberspace levels are only part of the game, you know, because obviously the large chunk of the game is obviously going to be the open world stuff and all that stuff. So, yeah, you know.
And then back to a 3D section, whereas the levels in Sonic Frontiers felt...
Yeah, so I think, like I said earlier, the main thing another thing that'll differentiate whether or not this will be like Unleashed inspired gameplay versus Forces. If you're just holding one button to win, without just a set path, it's gonna be like Forces. However, if there's multiple paths you can take, multiple things you can do, then I'd say it's more Unleashed. And from what he's explaining, it's leaning similar towards that Unleashed like DNA, which gives me hope, because I do not like Sonic Forces. Sonic Forces isn't a bad game, by the way. It's just painfully fucking mid. It's painfully fucking mid. Let's continue real quick. This went out longer than expected. Like, it was like 11 some minutes of
it. Focused on one or two things. You would start off, it would be a boost focus section. I wanted to keep on retrying them so I can get those goals. I mentioned this also in my preview.
Yeah, he mentioned like, yeah, he's excited about like retrying them over and over again. So he enjoys the replayability, which is good.
So
you know,
I played 4 hours of Sonic Frontiers, but honestly, most of that time was kind of spent in cyberspace.
On the cyberspace levels.
I'm the kind of person when I play a Sonic game where I wanna strive for those S ranks.
Those S ranks, yeah, and all that stuff. Yeah, I think a big chunk of the game game's replayability, at least to me so far, is definitely like the cyberspace levels. But not to say that there won't be any replayability of the open world sections, especially when the skill tree is like completely maxed out and there's a lot of stuff we haven't even seen yet. I mean, we've only even seen the first island. This Kronos Island, as you see right here, this is only one of like three other islands.
To me, that's the most fun I have.
I mean, confirmed to like a lot of the leaks that obviously that came out, which are quintuple percent confirmed at this point to a T. But there's like 4 other islands that we have yet to see. So I wonder if by the end of the marketing campaign for this game, they're only showcasing what you can do within Kronos Island, and they're not showing they're not showing all 3 other islands and all that stuff. So I'm really curious. What I want, like, is
strove to kind of get.
Let's slow down a bit. I gotta calm down.
Space levels. So for me, I actually kind of like the shorter length, especially when consider the fact that it's not.
Yeah, and it's like, here's the thing. I don't mind the shorter length as long as there's like multiple paths you can take. It's not just one set path that encourages just press boost to win. As long as the stages are not like Forces, but more like Unleashed, as he's saying, then you know what? I don't mind the shorter stages. Especially if there's like multiple objectives that, you know, encourages replayability. I don't mind that at all.
The full game. The cyberspace is not the whole game. It is this mix of the open zone exploration, everything that you can do there,
yeah,
along with these cyberspace levels. So yeah, in short, the levels are short, but I also don't think it's a huge problem. And then as for the,
like I said, as long as it's fun, as long as it's enjoyable, and as long as it's not mindless boost to win, I'm good. You know, says how's the level design.
You know, I guess it's more similar to Unleashed in Generations because of the fact that there's no wisps.
Okay, you know, actually, you know what I just realized? I don't think there's any wisps in Generations. Well, I mean, with the exception of, because obviously in Generations when you play Planet Wisp, there's wisps. But that's like the only level. Other than that, it's the gameplay is like. The gameplay of Generations is like kind of similar to Unleashed. Okay, when it comes to like this, like the gameplay of like modern Sonic, it's kind of similar. It's kind of similar to Unleashed, but like just better, more tuned controls. And then of course it looks better because it's a newer game, you know. So I think he kind of met colors. I don't know, but because like Unleashed and Generations like gameplay is like kind of similar. But like Generations, I feel is like more fine tuned. in some aspects, like with how Sonic feels and stuff, especially when it comes to like drifting. I'd say like than Unleashed, but if he's comparing it to like Unleashed in terms of like level design, that's a good sign. That hopefully it's not all press one button to win. So
there's no wisps.
I gotta chill.
It's still a very hard word for me to say. It's just kind of purely focused on that modern boost-focused 3D Sonic experience. As for the 2D sections,
which is
actually,
fine.
I didn't get to play it, but my colleague Jeffrey Vega, who played about 2 hours of the game, he went a different way in the open zone and ended up finding a cyberspace level that I didn't find. And
so he found a fifth. So there's 5 cyberspace levels. So that's if there's going to be like 4 islands, that's going to be 7, 14, 21. It's like 26, 28. So like 7 per island. That's if I'm going by what the leaks are saying. That's my guess.
He said that it was entirely 2D focused.
So an entirely 2D focused. So I'm really curious as to what that level is, because obviously it's not of the 4 horsemen that has been mentioned already, but it's gonna be completely 2D from what his colleague has experienced. So it's like, listen, I don't mind as long as there's more 3D than 2D. I don't mind. As long as the controls well, I'm fine as well. I just don't want the 2D sections to I don't want it to be like 50, 60% 2D and then 40% 3D. And it's like, I want the majority of the cyberspace levels to be at least 3D. Maybe a little bit of it like 2.5D and maybe a little bit of it like 2D. But I want the majority of it to be fully 3D modern Sonic experience goodness. That's poor grammar. Experience goodness. Experience goodness!
They're going to mix it up a good amount with the cyberspace levels in this game.
But I have a feeling the cyberspace levels are going to be really fun to like go around, especially when you complete all the objectives. It's going to be really fun just like speed running those as well. I'm just trying out like all different, especially if the levels are going to be like Unleashed, experiencing all the different routes you can take and stuff. Hopefully it's like that.
Another thing that a lot of people really wanted to know about is momentum, and I feel a little bad about this one because
here's my thoughts of it. My favorite Sonic game of all time is Sonic Adventure 2. That's my favorite Sonic game of all time, and my third favorite video game of all time. Being only surpassed by Super Mario Galaxy 1 and Xenoblade Chronicles. Sonic Adventure 2 is a game that is near dear to my heart. I fucking love Sonic SA2 with a burning fucking passion. And I love its momentum, but it's like hopefully this might change, maybe they'll add momentum, but if it turns out there's no momentum similar to like, okay. And the more I think about it, the more I realize if with the momentum, especially with the open world, I think it would feel a lot better if you were to have those boost like mechanics with the open world, because I think it'd be less tedious to just use momentum, rely solely on momentum without the boost. But hopefully they add some momentum in it. But it's like if there is no momentum in it within the final product, it's like, as long as it controls well, and as long as it's not stiff, and as long as Sonic feels good to control in all aspects, But
really think about it, Sonic's control felt fine to me. At the very least, it wasn't.
Yeah, explaining. Obviously, we have 2 different styles they confirmed: high action style and speed style.
It's true that it doesn't really matter what speed Sonic hits a rail at. He'll
still
so
that obviously.
But I also don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. Now
again, it's not a bad thing. Like that's the thing. It's really not a bad thing. Like it really is not a bad thing. It's just like as long as there's some. But it's like I'm trying to articulate my words. Like I enjoy Sonic. I prefer like the momentum like style of like adventure personally over boost. But honestly, as long as Sonic controls well, and I'm not gonna, and the moment, and then with the physics that will be in the game, flow well and they're programmed well and all that stuff, then I'm not gonna mind it so much that the momentum that I want in the game won't be in it. But maybe it'll be in the final game. I don't know, but
definitely some weird moments, like I mentioned in the preview, where I was fighting the Asura
yeah,
boss,
he mentioned
and I would
he
run
would
up the arm, and
run
despite
up,
feeling like I should have enough momentum,
and then he randomly falls off of Asura.
Just fly upwards and
Yeah.
not have enough forward momentum to lock onto the head, and I would just kind of fall back down. And the momentum didn't really bother me all that much, or it feels very similar to other 3D boost-centric Sonic games.
Yeah, but he said it felt similar to other 3D boost-centric Sonic games, which is like, yeah, so that means we're not gonna have, I don't think we're gonna have. If anything, I don't know if there's gonna be like the momentum that we're hoping. It's not. He basically confirmed that. It's gonna be similar to other 3D-centric Sonic games. If that kind of shots like, yeah, there's not gonna be like the momentum that we want. It is what it is. As long as Sonic controls well, that's what I want. Like, I want Sonic to control well. I don't want Sonic to feel stiff. I want Sonic to control well whenever I'm controlling, whenever I'm running with him, especially when he fights. I want Sonic to feel good controlling him and feel fun controlling him. I don't want him to feel stiff, and I don't want him to be boost to win like fucking Forces. I know I mentioned Forces a lot. I don't like that game. Like I said, it's not a bad game. It's just painfully mid, and I don't like it. I really don't like it. But, like, moving on. So it's like...
But, that's kind of where I'm at with momentum right now.
Yeah, so...
Those were the two big ones that kept coming up, so I kind of wanted to group them all together. But now let's look at
So basically no momentum. Well, I don't think it's going to be no momentum, but it's like it's going to be not the momentum that we've been hoping for. Definitely not adventure-esque. I think he straight up confirmed we're not getting adventure-style momentum. That's not happening.
Beatster DX asked, how does the combat work in Frontiers? The starting combo, punch-kick combo, and then on the last hit, you'll kind of kick yourself away and you'll come back down to the ground. Do any of the special attacks work?
This one kind of explains the combat a bit.
When you homing attack onto something, you'll do the little punch-kick combo, and then on the last hit, you'll kind of kick yourself away and you'll come back down to the ground.
Okay, so basically through homing attack, obviously with homing attack you can... This is one thing I'm curious about, because with homing attack, it seems like you can cancel into a lot of moves. So that kind of makes me wonder, because obviously he's mentioning, you can homing attack, and then you do your regular punch kick air combo, and then you can kick yourself, and then you can kick yourself away and just fall down. Obviously we've seen in the trailers where after the punch kick combos, you can cancel the line. It seems like a cancel. You can end the combo into a super attack of some sort, of like an attack, like a special attack of some sort. So there is that. Obviously there's going to be pairing in the game as well, so I'm really curious to see what combo routes like Sonic can do, especially when we build up the skill tree, we unlock new moves, combat moves, and all that stuff. I'm really curious to see the depth of Sonic's combat in full. In full. Once we finally get our hands on the game, and once we max out that skill tree.
There are a couple of upgrades that you can get in the skill tree that add some sort of new attack to the end of that string. So that's where you see
so combo. So basically, saying you can in the skill tree confirmed, you can get new combo enders and all that stuff.
I think, and this is one of those things where don't quote me on this, because again, I played this a month and a half ago, but I think that there is a combo counter. I think you get rewarded with a certain kind of power up mode if you do a bunch of hits without getting hit. So
so this is interesting though what he mentions. This hasn't been mentioned before. So basically he says if there's a certain combo counter, and if you get enough without getting hit, you unlock this install where
it's a reward for being careful with regards to knowing when to lay off your attack, and when the opponent is about to strike back, you can use a dodge to get out of the way. Dodges are on the L1 and R1 buttons, so you can...
L1 and R1 button. Okay, that's comfortable. I wonder if you can edit your controls. So maybe like L2 R2 or something like that. I mean, L1 R1 that's comfortable enough for me personally, but
just quickly get out of the way if something.
But yeah, I love it incentivized. I love how, because this is one of my concerns. It's like the gameplay loop just being repetitive and not in a good way. But the more I hear about this, the more I'm kind of feeling, I'm kind of relieved at what I'm feeling about the combat and the gameplay loop. The more I hear about it, the more it seems like, yo, the gameplay loop is going to be very, very fun. You know, obviously we have to wait until the full game releases. Hopefully they release the demo, but yeah. But moving on, it seems like a combo counter. If this game will reward you for, you know, not taking damage. You know, being careful, which is good.
You can use parries, you can lock on. Another one of the abilities that you can get is that kick attack. You can see right here where you kick a bunch of stuff.
I love this move. I love this Sonic Wind. I think it's called Sonic Boom, basically, but it's like, I always call it like Sonic Wind because that's what it kind of reminds me of, like Sonic Wind, you know? But it's like, that's so cool. That is so cool. I'm really curious if you can upgrade, with all the abilities you can unlock, you can upgrade them as well.
Waves and
well, I mean, they already confirmed that. What the fuck am I saying?
It's really awesome. That's generally how combat works. It's not, you know, it's not. This isn't Devil May Cry.
And no one expected it to be Devil May Cry, and I don't think it will be Devil May Cry. If anything, it will be Devil May Cry light. Devil May Cry light. I'm seeing. I think this will be, the gameplay is going to have more depth. It seems gameplay, the combat's going to be a hell of a lot better than Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric. I know it's a low bar, but still, the combat looks very fun. Obviously, it's not going to be like Devil May Cry or anything like that, but it's like, that's another thing. DLC. I mean, I think they would have DLC for this game. Like, what if they had like more costume, like more costumes, maybe more playable characters, a new story mode, like more moves and stuff like that. I wonder if there's gonna be like DLC for this game. I mean, I would imagine there was DLC for Forces, and there was DLC for Mania. So,
I think the real test for the combat of this game will be enemy variety. You know, there were,
and that's the thing. Enemy variety. There's like one gigantic boss that there was only shown in the Sonic Central, that was not really shown again at this point. But that was all in the Kronos Islands, the first island. Apparently there's going to be 3 other islands that we have not seen as of yet. So that's a lot that we haven't seen. So I'm really curious. Because I really do hope there's a good chunk of enemy variety. You know, I'm hoping the enemies that we've seen so far aren't the only enemies, which I don't think they are. But
were a handful of enemies that all were a bit different and had to fight them
being a bit different, all that stuff.
But it's really going to be a matter of if they can keep on introducing new enemies.
I can imagine like the Psy loop. Now it's kind of funny that Sonic's just like falling. And it's like, he's kind of just static. Hopefully they fix that where it's like, they give him like a actual falling animation. But I have to keep in mind, this is like an earlier build. The build that we saw from the Nintendo trailer for Sonic Frontiers seemed to be a lot newer, even though it was on the Switch, because Killer was low res. They did a really good job downgrading, you know, for the Switch port.
And keep having new and interesting ways to deal with them. And
Cloud port my ass, am I right? I'll go on.
And I think that's going to be the real test of whether combat is going to be exciting.
Enemy variety.
I mean, excuse me, open zone. What does collecting those little rock guys do?
Okay, so this is when he mentions, I forget, the Kukos? The Kukos? Kikos? I forget the Kukos? Oh my god, it sounds like I'm saying cuckold. The rock guys. The rock chow. So basically real quick, yeah, he basically confirms that stuff that we've already known. So basically he says, oh, you can collect those rock guys, and if you bring them back to the rock guy, the rock chow elder, I'm just gonna call them rock chows. So basically if you collect all the mini rock chows, and if you bring them back to the rock chow elder, you can upgrade not only your speed but your ring count. Now this is another. Speaking of the ring count, this is very interesting. This is I don't think this has been a thing before.
Little rock guys, on every time.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to where
when you get hit in Sonic Frontiers, you don't just drop all your rings. You drop 40 rings. It's a set amount every time.
That's new. That's actually either new or we haven't seen that in quite a bit. 40 rings at a time. For the longest time, we're used to, hey, you get hit, you lose all your fucking rings, you know. But 40 rings at a time. Now that's gonna be interesting. That's gonna be interesting. So it's not gonna be a thing where you lose all your rings and you have to collect them. You know, you lose a set amount of rings at a time. So that's interesting. I think that can work. I don't mind that. I don't think that hinders like difficulty at all. I think it gives, especially if you can like increase your ring count apparently as well, because I'm assuming you'll start off with I guess 100 rings at a time. My assumption 100 rings at a time. Or maybe 999 to start off. I don't know, but 40 rings at a time. That's gonna be different. At least from my guess so far, I don't think it'll hinder difficulty at all. I think if anything, it kind of balances out. You know, maybe they'll add an option later, say, hey, you know, you can add like one hit, lose all your rings, and you can't get them back. Be like a Dante Must Die mode for Sonic Frontiers. But 40 rings, that's interesting.
And if you're able to collect 400 rings, I believe the cutoff is 400 rings.
The cutoff is 400 rings. That's interesting.
You're able to activate this like super blue boost that like, you know, envelops Sonic in like this awesome blue aura. He's able to go even faster on his boost.
So that's interesting. So if you collect over 400 rings, you basically get like an install. You give Sonic an install where it's this blue aura, so to speak. Obviously not similar to movie Sonic because with Kishimoto mentioned, a lot of the influence for Sonic Frontiers came from the Sonic movie. So from Sonic involving in blue aura kind of reminds me of, you know, Sonic, you know, getting involved in this blue aura electricity type of thing, you know, similar to like how he was in like the Sonic movies, when he gets really intense and powered up. So it's gonna be similar to that, where if you collect 400 rings, you basically get an install, you become faster, and you can go with this blue aura. Now I'm curious about how faster, but he's hyping this up, saying, guys, this is gonna be speedy. This is gonna be speedy. I like, obviously he's played it. I'll take his word for it, but at the same time, I want to see it. Like I want to see it for myself, you know. So, but that gets me excited. But it's like, you know, I want to see it for myself.
He goes extremely fast. If you thought that Sonic Frontiers isn't fast enough, just trust me. It's once you get this blue boost, he moves plenty fast. And
yeah, he moves plenty. Yeah, he's stressing it. I'm very curious.
I wish I had footage of it because it was one of the cooler things that I got to experience in my playtime. Sonic Rich says, in your first 4 hours playing Frontier.
Okay, so basically you're given the freedom to explore. We have points where
you're given the freedom to explore.
Yeah, and then this is basically where he confirms that, yeah, so you can go wherever you want at your own leisure. You don't have to follow a set story path. You can go basically do whatever you want at your own pace. Basically in the veins of like Breath of the Wild. Which is really nice.
Starfall Island from the get-go, or were there points? But you know, you're able to just go off in a direction.
Yeah, so that's really cool. And that's definitely a difference.
Tell you where chaos
there's a lot of things that's obviously there's a lot of these mechanics that obviously games have done before and have done. You know, I wouldn't say better, but this is the first time Sonic has done this, so we won't know for sure until we actually get our hands on it. But for a Sonic game, this is new, you know. So I'm really curious. This makes me excited personally.
There's a lot to do in the open zone.
I'm still cautiously optimistic, but I'm slowly transitioning from cautiously optimistic to like it's kind of like a middle ground between cautiously optimistic and optimistic. I think that's kind of where I am right now from everything that we've seen so far from Frontiers, especially with if the leaks turn out to be true, which they're quintuple confirmed at this point. I'm still cautiously optimistic because then again, these are the recent leaks that we've seen are leaks. You know, they're not official confirmation. I think if what we see in the leaks are official confirmations, later on in the year, I'm going up to straight up optimistic. But so far, I'm kind of in the middle between cautiously optimistic and like optimistic. I'm kind of like in the Goldilocks middle, if you know what I mean by that. Yeah.
Collectibles to find, the aforementioned rock guys that you can grab. It doesn't really funnel you towards a certain path. You're kind of free to take on that critical path whenever you want.
Yeah, and I love that.
Time. Let's do a bunch
okay,
of
lightning
really
round.
quick.
So,
was there any form of spin dash or rolling, albeit in his base moveset or the skill tree? No, but there is a drop dash.
Okay, so basically he said no spin dashes in the skill tree. Now keep in mind this is from an earlier build. There might be a spin dash in the skill tree, maybe like later, maybe like in the final build of the game. But he did confirm drop dashing, which is interesting.
Was the light speed dash present at all? Yes.
Yeah, he also confirmed. I think we've seen this before. He also confirmed that there's going to be light speed. There's going to be light speed dashes, which is cool.
Is there a Chow Garden or at least Chow in the game? I can't speak for the whole game, but in the 4 hours that I played, not a single Chow was seen.
So that's kind of funny because with the leaks that leaks I've been seeing, they're basically confirming Chow Gardens, which is interesting. And then we have Ian Flynn. In one of his recent tweets, basically hinting at Chow Garden, saying, "Oh, Chronosan's would be a perfect area for like a Chow Garden." It's like it seems like he's teasing a Chow Garden. So it's like if there's a Chow Garden, if Chow Gardens are returning, boy, in the words of Kratos, boy. Okay. Anyway, from what you played,
from what I played, how was the music? It was good.
Yeah. So the music. Obviously, we've heard that banger from Oyatani from the latest Nintendo trailer. I want that theme to be released so fucking badly. Like for real.
Jeffrey talked about when we got out of our
let's hurry this up because I don't want this to be
music.
like
So
going on like 46 minutes.
It's not
Holy
Crush
shit.
40, but it's very fitting, and it sounds nice in my ear.
I want that theme to be released hopefully soon. Hopefully before the summer ends. That's my hope.
All right, well that is good.
Yeah, and that's basically it. So we've learned quite a bit. A lot of what we've already know. But some interesting things we haven't really known. Apparently, there's going to be an install if you collect over 400 rings. Sonic gets this blue aura install where you go faster and all that stuff, which is really interesting. He confirmed a lot of information. So the cyberspace levels are kind of bite-sized, 2 minutes, but obviously there's multiple paths to this. And he confirmed, in terms of like level design and all that stuff, he's comparing it to Unleashed. But it's kind of interesting to say he's more Unleashed in Generations because there's no Wisps, even though there's only Wisp in Planet Wisp in Generations, which is kind of weird and interesting. But he's comparing both level design. So it seems like the level design is going to be similar to it's going to be like Unleashed Generations-esque and not Forces. So that's cool if it's true. I'm not doubting him because obviously he's played it and I haven't. But it's like I want to see it for myself, to confirm. And at least from what I've seen from like the first snippets of what we got from Cyberspace, especially from that highway level, it seems like there's multiple paths. So I'm gonna be very happy if it's gonna be a return to form with like Unleashed in Generation style boost with boost gameplay, which is arguably like the peak of boost gameplay. And it's like a gameplay that I would go to over and over and over again, especially Generations. Fucking love Generations. Unleashed too, but Generations. But anyway, so we got that confirmed of the Rock Chow people. If you collect them, you go to the Elder, you get to increase your rings and all that stuff. 40 rings at a time. Every time you get hit, only 40 rings at a time. So it's not a point where you get hit, you lose all your rings. You only lose 40 rings at a time. Now, maybe later on, you can get the option say, hey, if you want an option say, hey, one hit, you lose all your rings, and you can't get them back. Sonic must die. Dante must die. Yeah, something stuff like that. But yeah, there's that, and basically confirming a lot of stuff we've already knew. But obviously light speeding and all that stuff. There's going to be in the game. No spin dashing, but there's drop dashing. Then again, this could be in the final build, But yeah. I think that's all I have to explain about it. That's all for June. Hopefully we see more throughout the summer, and hopefully we get a demo before the game releases, Because it seems like they're really dead set on releasing this on holiday. And from everything I'm seeing, especially with all the leaks that have been happening as a reason, which were basically all but confirmed, I'm in the middle of cautiously optimistic and optimistic. Optimistic. That's how I'm feeling right now, you know. But anyway, I think I'm gonna end it here. It's been going on for it's going about 50 minutes now. Holy shit. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. I'm Zachary Chan. Like, comment, subscribe if you want to do that jazz. I'll try to cover some stuff when I can. When it comes to Frontiers, when I can. Obviously, I'm not going to be as detailed like other people, especially there's other people who do better than me. But if you like my commentary, if you like how I am, cool. Follow me, all that jazz. Yeah. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Hopefully, this game will be good. The more I'm seeing of it, the more I'm excited for it. So hopefully, this ends up at the end of the day being the best Sonic game we've had in years. And God knows we need it right now. So hopefully we have that. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys later. Arrivederci. As a Bruno Bucchiarti, you know, for those of you that know JoJo. Yeah. Y'all have a good one.